Hey everyone, I'm Professor Franklin. Imagine waking up one morning and oil prices have suddenly crossed $107 per barrel. Global markets are shaking, energy supplies are under threat, and the world is watching the Middle East. This isn't just another price spike. This is a warning signal. Because when oil moves, the entire global economy feels it. Today, we're breaking down how rising tensions between Iran and Israel triggered a massive surge in oil prices and what it means for you. The crisis escalated when Israel reportedly struck Iran's largest gas processing facility in Bushehr province. This was not just a military action. It was a direct hit on energy infrastructure. And energy infrastructure is the backbone of global oil supply. Iran responded quickly. Its Revolutionary Guard issued warnings, threatening to strike major oil and gas facilities across the Middle East. This included critical sites in Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar. Suddenly, the conflict was no longer local. It had become a global energy threat. Markets reacted immediately. Brent crude, the global oil benchmark, surged 3.83%, closing at $107.38 per barrel. In contrast, U.S. oil prices remained relatively stable at around $96.32. But the message was clear. The market was pricing in fear. Fear of supply disruption, fear of escalation, and fear of a wider regional conflict. Because oil markets don't wait for war to begin. They react to the possibility of it. Iran's warning was specific. It named major energy facilities as legitimate targets. These included the Semref refinery and Al Jubail complex in Saudi Arabia, the Al Hosn gas field in the UAE, and the Mesaieed petrochemical complex in Qatar. These are not ordinary locations. They are critical nodes in the global energy network. If even one of these facilities is damaged, the ripple effect could be massive. Because global oil supply depends on these systems running smoothly. But the biggest risk lies in one narrow waterway, the Strait of Hormuz. Nearly 20% of the world's oil supply passes through this route every day. However, tanker traffic has already begun to decline, a sign that companies are avoiding the region due to rising tensions. If the Strait of Hormuz is disrupted or blocked, the global oil market could face one of its biggest shocks in decades. This is why even the threat alone is enough to push prices higher. Analysts are now warning of a major supply shock. Citi estimates that disruptions could reach 11 to 16 million barrels per day. That's a massive portion of global oil supply. If this scenario unfolds, Brent crude could surge to $120 per barrel in the coming days. And in a worst-case scenario, prices could average $130 per barrel in the coming months. This isn't just a price increase. It's a potential energy crisis. So what does this mean for the United States? Higher oil prices lead to higher fuel costs. Gasoline prices rise. Transportation becomes more expensive. And businesses pass these costs on to consumers. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell warned that rising oil prices will increase inflation in the near term. But the long-term impact is still uncertain. This creates a difficult situation because higher inflation can slow economic growth. The U.S. government is already taking action. President Donald Trump issued a 2-month waiver of the Jones Act. This law normally requires that goods transported between U.S. ports use American ships, but the waiver allows foreign vessels to help transport oil. This could reduce transportation costs and increase supply. It's a temporary measure, but it shows how seriously governments are taking the situation. Here's something important to understand. Markets are not driven only by supply and demand. They are driven by expectations. City analysts noted that prices may continue rising until something changes, until either supply stabilizes or the conflict begins to ease. In simple terms, markets are waiting for clarity, waiting for a signal that the crisis is under control. So what's the takeaway from all of this? A single geopolitical event can reshape global markets. Oil is not just a commodity. It is the foundation of the modern economy. When supply is threatened, prices rise. And when prices rise, everything, from fuel to food, becomes more expensive. The situation between Iran and Israel is still evolving. But one thing is clear. The world is once again being reminded of how fragile global energy systems can be. I'm Professor Franklin, and this has been today's lesson. Because in the world of finance, understanding global events is the key to understanding the market. I'll see you in the next lesson.